The time has come, the walrus said, and so did the vlogger. The time has come to switch. And I'm not talking about switching phone providers, cable companies, razors, girlfriends. I'm talking about how you film your vlogs. If you're anything like me, you've been using a combination of two cameras to film your vlogs on the go. One is the iPhone.
This happens to be the iPhone 14 Pro Max.
They have a 15 Pro Max out now, but
I'm going to give that a break.
the other is this camera, and I'm going to tell you why. I'm going to be all but ditching this thing, aside from a few small circumstances. Guys, GoPro stick is getting almost ripped out of my hand from the wind.
Go coming?
125 feet.
Oh, that's a big one, huh?
The bridge is prepared to open. All pedestrians, please.
Oh, we're getting yelled at by the bridge tender. He wants us to get a move on. Let him wait for once. Wouldn't be the first time I got yelled at by a bridge tender. He's got to wait for me, no matter how slow I am.
If everything worked perfectly between the combination of the iPhone and the GoPro, there would be no need to spend close to $700 on a new camera. Guys, when it came to a camera I could use an external mic on, and I could get pretty good stabilization with the use of a gimbal, the iPhone really helped me out when this thing failed me. Works much better in low light. It's easily transportable because it's my phone, and I don't leave home without it. Personally, I think that the video looks cleaner and sharper. But the fact that I really need to use a stabilizer, which I'm not using right now for this video, and you could probably tell.
Even the smallest of gimbals these days are cumbersome and just another heavy thing you have to put in your bag. Plus,
You gotta worry about the battery on the gimbal going out, in addition to the battery on the phone. Even though it's better than the GoPro in low light, it still ain't the best. You'll still see some graininess, you'll see some noise that really diminishes the overall quality of the finished vlog. But this thing, on the other hand, this thing, over the years of my use with it, has literally driven me insane. Fucking piece of shit.
yeah, guys, this dog shit GoPro screwed me up again. But anyway, you missed a lot.
I mean, honestly, guys, I don't even know where to start with this. Just unreliability, if that's a word. From overheating, I literally had the battery stuck in this thing, and I couldn't pull it out. And when I tried to, the battery top broke off in my hand, leaving the battery inside the camera. Had to wait for it to cool off and hope that I could get the battery out of the camera. Luckily I did, but just infuriating. I'm gonna try to get us out of this wind, guys, and continue this conversation. Let's go seek some shelter. That's a little better. Oh, GoPro, how do I despise thee? Let me count the ways.
And I'm not just talking about at night. I'm talking about even on cloud-covered days like today. If you're shooting at 60 frames per second, even 24, 30 frames per second, it's not going to let enough light in. I've had video, guys, where I've got comments where people tell me, it's too dark, I can't watch it, and I'm shooting in broad daylight.
So now you guys might say, what is it, 12? I lost track. They're up to 12. Why don't you just upgrade again? And the reason, guys, is because, you know what? Fool me once, shame on me. I got that wrong. Cut. Fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. I'm not about to throw good money after bad. The unit freezing up, horribly unresponsive menu system, the necessity of all the accessories, and they're not cheap. They're not cheap. Like if I was gonna use this today here without an external mic, I forget it. You gotta spend 80 bucks, thereabouts, on this thing. This mod, this media mod is what they call it. I have gone through no less than 3 of these media mods, which all have broken on me. one way or the other. It's usually, this hole in here would just crumble. Then you have this antiquated, ridiculous, flimsy, poorly manufactured attachment system. You see these screws? Oops. Look at that. Look at that. This plastic garbage will break on you.
You use up all the glue on purpose.
It's just a matter of time. Can't tell you how many of these selfie attachments for the GoPro I have gone through over the years. Way too many, GoPro. Way too many. I'm done. And guys, if this attachment breaks while you're, in Cuba or someplace, you're going to be holding your camera in your hand because you're not going to be able to get these parts over there in Havana. So needless to say, I won't be purchasing another GoPro till the end of time. You're ugly, man of war, but not as ugly as the GoPro. By the way, when it comes to reliability and dependability on the iPhone, now I'm no way near comparing the failure rates of the GoPro to the iPhone, but there are some times where the phone seemed to have been confused. I'd have it, somehow it would be on time lapse. Maybe I hit it by accident, I'm not sure. But I've had video that I thought either should have been a time lapse and wasn't. I've also had situations where I thought I was filming and instead I got snapshots. So I don't expect those types of errors to be happening. The iPhone screen is tough to see in daylight a lot of times because of glares, and the screen, you guys have heard me complain about that now for ages. So guys, obviously, if I'm going to be switching from the iPhone and the GoPro, it's got to be to something that's pretty good, pretty reliable, and improves on all of those faults I just pointed out. Say hello to my little friend. Guys, here it is. None other than the DJI Osmo Pocket 3.
Okay, you like that? Huh? You want more?
It's funny because when the Pocket 2 came out, I was like, ooh, should I? I kind of want that. But there were a couple of things about it that kept me with the GoPro and the iPhone. Namely, the low light performance, which wasn't that good, and the audio, which was terrible. And I was like, why should I switch from the GoPro, which is terrible in low light and has bad audio other than when I plug something into it, and the iPhone, which quite frankly was better. So I decided there's probably going to be a Pocket 3 at some point. I'm going to wait. Invest the money that I would have spent on a Pocket 2 in this Pocket 3, which is really a completely revised camera. So it's got this nice little holder that the camera goes back into. Look how easy that is to turn on. And there it is. And you have this beautiful screen that is large. It's so light, guys. It's so nice in my hand, and the battery life is really good. It's got a built-in stabilizer. It's a lens that is on a gimbal, 3-axis gimbal. I don't have to worry about the stabilization anymore. I don't have to carry these big, heavy additional gimbals. Everything I need is right here. And I can also track myself. All I got to do to activate it is just click on the screen on my face twice, and there it is. Active track enabled. So pretty much wherever I move, it's going to lock onto me and track me, which is great for when I'm talking into the camera and doing vlogs. Just like this. No matter where I go, it's keeping me in focus. It feels like it's well made. It feels great in my hand, yet it's extremely light. So it's very portable. Think about all this stuff that I no longer have to keep in my bag. Watch how easy it is for me to switch to selfie mode. I'm doing this with one hand because I have the iPhone in the other hand. And there you go. It turns it around, and that's all stabilized, nice and steady, which is less than I can say for holding this camera in my hand. This is my go-to, Pocket 3. Small enough to fit in your pocket. I have a tripod attachment down here that enables me to put the camera down, but look how small it is without that. Flip of the screen turns it on and off. It's just so convenient, guys. This is a dream come true for me. Now, it wasn't cheap, okay? You're looking at close to $700 for this with the creator package. It comes with the tripod, it comes with that battery handle. It also comes with an external mic. All you do is you just hit the button, the mic comes on, you'll see the blue light, steady blue light. It tells you right there that the microphone is on and working. So even on a cloudy day like today, that even though it's middle of the afternoon and broad daylight, it's a winter day, it gets darker earlier, and you could already see the difference of how much more light this larger sensor lets in. What I want to show you though is this little thing that comes with it. That is an additional wide angle lens that comes with the package. The other thing that's nice about this camera is the bokeh you get by looking at that slightly blurred background that's difficult to pull off on a GoPro or even the iPhone. So the iPhone has this thing called cinematic, which basically blurs the background when you use it. The problem with it is it's a separate file that needs to be processed. And the last couple of times I tried it, it got stuck in processing, and I had to try to like Google it to find out why that was happening. It didn't work. So for me, that functionality was useless. You are looking at, out of the box, the Osmo Pocket 3, auto. I didn't adjust, the sharpness. It's not like a D-Log I'm filming in or anything like that. This is the camera. If you just take it out of the box, charge it up, and turn it on. I'm gonna cross over the Atlantic Avenue Bridge, and we'll let this thing work its magic. I gotta tell you guys, it's so refreshing using this thing. Decked out in all its decorations. These boat shows are really fun and interesting. If you haven't been to one, if you're down here this time of year, you should definitely go attend one. They have them really all over the state. Lost their shorts on that one. So in summary, the major advantages to this camera. First and foremost, built-in stabilization that I never have to worry about anymore. It's always coming with the camera. If I'm taking the camera with me, I'm taking the stabilizer with me. The other thing is, it's unobtrusive. I mean, this camera is so small that when I'm out vlogging, if I have it on and I've got it really up close and personal with somebody that's a complete stranger, this thing is barely noticeable. That's how small it is. Oh, they got that for dogs? Oh, I'm sorry, buddy. I didn't mean to scare you. That's cool. I never noticed that.
Oh yeah, he knows where every one of them are.
If I'm ever crawling home, I know what to do. And yet, you still get a very big camera result. If somebody told you you were using an SLR type camera, it's very believable. So any negatives, any drawbacks to this camera? Well, the one positive thing I'll say about GoPro, which almost sounds like a contradiction, but it's not, and I'll explain, is that the camera itself is pretty rugged. So if I drop it, if it gets wet, if it's raining, obviously it's an underwater action cam as well, so I don't have to worry about that. The casing of the camera itself, the water tightness and all that on the GoPro is actually pretty good, pretty well made, and has held up for me over the years. But not the accessories, which are necessary in order to use the camera for the most part. So guys, in the final analysis, is there anything about this camera that would give me any pause or any reason for concern? There is one thing that has me worried, if I'm being honest. But there is a way to diffuse that worry that I'm going to share with you. The Osmo Pocket 3's greatest advantage over other cameras that I've used and others that are out there on the market is the fact that it has this 3-axis gimbal built into the camera itself. But that also happens to be its potential Achilles heel. Now, I've had DJI products before, specifically the DJI Mavic Mini drone. I didn't really use it that often, and yet I still had a problem. And that was the problem that I'm worried about with this camera, the fact that the gimbal is necessary in order for the camera to work. That's right. If the gimbal fails, the camera is useless. Now this extra wide angle lens that came with the camera that I put on, it's not very heavy, but to a gimbal, any additional weight is going to stress out the motors. And if the motors on your camera fail, your camera's just not going to work. And here's exactly what I'm talking about, guys. In some footage that I shot, the last time I used my Mavic, when it was giving me error messages. The gimbals can get out of calibration, the motors can go bad, and if that happens, there goes your camera and all your hard-earned dough. So what's the solution? Buy the warranty. The warranty will cover it for 2 years, and it's only 55 bucks. Now, I know you're spending close to 700, that'll put you over 700, and it's like, oh, all these dollars keep adding up. But guys, $55 for 2 years of peace of mind. I really think it's worth it. And I bit the bullet and I bought it. And I'm not the type of guy that usually does that. A lot of times if I'm in Best Buy or wherever it is, you know, they want to sell you these extended warranties because they're very profitable for them. 99% of the time, I decline. Not this time, and you shouldn't either. Because when there's a gimbal involved, you almost have no choice. If you have a failure with the gimbal, it's going to ruin more than just your day. Trust me on that. Now, what I would have liked to have seen from DJI was them stand a little bit more behind their product. In my opinion, you're going to charge this much money for a camera. You should stand behind that gimbal. Not every other part of the camera, but the gimbal itself, in my opinion, should be covered for 5 years if you buy the camera. That's what I would like to see. Anyway, guys, I'm really excited about this camera. I'll keep you up to date in terms of what happens with the camera overall, and of course this gimbal and how it holds up over time. Till next time, from the windy beaches, bad hair day, here in Delray Beach, this is a Barefoot Vlogger saying, what are you waiting for? Make the switch. GoPro, your time has come. DJI, thanks for putting out a product that is going to make my life a lot easier and my videos a lot better.